This week on the Brody File, chaos in Egypt. What's the end game and how much is at stake for America?
This is how our naval forces get in and out of the Persian Gulf. This is how the world's oil gets to global markets.
Plus, is privacy dead? Can people do anything these days without being monitored? The Brody File's Jenny team investigates.
People don't know what information these devices might be sending off about them.
Also looking ahead to the midterm elections, the fight to turn Texas blue. Really? Really? How Hispanic voters could play a major role.
It's now a matter of participating more than ever.
And bless their hearts. We'll hear how patriotism ain't always pretty. It's all coming up in this special edition of the Brody File as Jenny and the B Block, that's me, stages a coup.
You go, girl!
This week, I'm taking over all of Brody's blocks. It's history in the making, so stay tuned. You don't want to miss a single moment. Welcome to this special edition of the Brody File. I'm Jennifer Wishon in for David Brody. I'm collecting intel on David's whereabouts, more on that to come. But first, the story that's captivated the world for a number of reasons, the deadly violence, political upheaval, and uncertain future facing Egypt. There's a lot at stake for the people of Egypt, the Middle East, and the U.S. To help us break it down, I'd like to welcome Steve Bucci to the Brody File. He's a former Army Special Forces officer, Pentagon official, and the Director of Foreign Policy Studies for the Heritage Foundation. Steve, we're seeing some Egyptians who initially supported the military ousting of Mohamed Morsi, now a little upset because they're not being included in the transition. Are we anywhere close to seeing the end game in Egypt?
I don't think so. Hopefully we'll get in that direction sooner rather than later, but this is not something that's going to be settled in the next week or two.
The Egyptian military has arrested several members of the Muslim Brotherhood. There are warrants out for others. Is it dangerous for the military to be isolating the Brotherhood in this way?
I think that's an unwise thing for them to do. Perhaps watch them to make sure they're not doing anything that is counter to good order and discipline in the country, but chasing them all down and trying to police them all up is just probably not the best idea.
Well, we saw, as you mentioned, the military overthrow the Mubarak regime. The U.S. applauded that move. Now the Obama administration is being very careful about what to call this. Was it a coup? Was it not a coup? What's the problem with the semantics this time?
The semantics are involved with our aid to the country of Egypt. We have laws on our federal books that say if there is a military coup, and it specifically says coup, that there is a requirement to cut off our foreign aid to that country. I think the president in this case is being wise to hesitate a bit before he makes the semantic decision as to what to call it, because this is not a very cut and dry situation. This wasn't a democracy. We had hoped it was going to go that way, but it was not. Morsi was taking it in an undemocratic direction. The military again sided with the people and rose up to get rid of him. Cutting off the aid reflexively, as the law frankly requires right now, would take the United States out of the game as far as influencing the outcome in Egypt, and I think that would be a terrible mistake. Congress needs to step up, pass a law that says, well, wait a minute, we're going to do an exception in this case, and not just leave the aid flowing, but keep a much more nuanced, with a lot more strings attached kind of aid package.
What is at stake for the U.S. in this conflict?
Egypt is one of the largest and most important countries in the Middle East, not just because they control the Suez Canal, but it's a pretty darn important aspect of it. But they're the contiguous neighbor of our biggest ally in the Middle East, which is Israel. Instability in Egypt is just a disaster for Middle Eastern policy, not just for the United States, but for the world.
You mentioned Israel, as we can see, very close to Egypt. What is the best case scenario for Israel?
The best case for Israel is to have a stable and solid government in Egypt that maintains the peace there and that is willing to continue, at the very least, to abide by the accords that have been signed between those two countries.
Democracy is still a relatively new idea post-Arab Spring. Does the U.S. need to do a little PR work to let folks in Egypt and other countries know that just because you have a free election, it doesn't mean you're automatically a democracy that the U.S. can totally support?
And we do need to work a little harder to get that point across. Just because you have an election doesn't mean you can do anything you darn well please, which was kind of the way Mr. Morsi was looking at it. And that's just not the case. We can't give blanket support to a government just because they got elected. So I like to remind people, Adolf Hitler got elected too, and I think we would have been thrilled if General Rommel had actually, that bomb under the table had worked for him. You know, I'm not comparing Mr. Morsi with Hitler, but he was moving in an undemocratic direction, and we need to understand that it's not just black and white.
Steve, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure to be here.
See you.
Thanks.
Here at home, the Obama administration is dealing with a different issue, Obamacare. Some people won't get it as soon as they thought. The administration has announced employers with more than 50 workers now have another year to offer health insurance or pay a fine. It's a move that adds to the appearance that the incredibly complex law is in disarray. Then there are the legal challenges which continue. A circuit court says the Christian family who owns Hobby Lobby can sue the federal government over the birth control mandate that requires them to provide contraceptives like the morning after pill, which violates their conscience. If the craft store loses its case, it will face fines of more than $1 million per day until it complies. I recently talked to the company's CEO who says he never imagined he'd have to sue the federal government to run his business the way he sees fit.
Would never have thought that we would be in this situation. We love this country and the freedoms it stands for, and would never have imagined that we'd be in a position where that we would be required to do something that would violate our conscience.
The Green family has been hailed by some groups for their courage, but Green says they're just adhering to the biblical principles they use to run their business.
And, so, not that we were looking for it, but it's one of those where that we just feel like God, whatever He intends to do with it, we want to be and honor Him in all that we do.
No matter what happens, this case is likely to go all the way to the Supreme Court. Now, here's a question. Can the government really track our every move? The answer is pretty much, and we're sending clues about ourselves without even knowing it. If you go to the mall to buy a new outfit, go home and log into a website, then hop into your car with your smartphone to take a road trip, you wouldn't expect those things to be logged about you in cyberspace, but they probably are.
It's hard for you to know all the places where the information is being generated about you.
Data brokers are constantly collecting information about you, and it comes from sources you may not expect. Even this mobile gaming device tracks its GPS location when it's offline. Other gaming systems literally watch you, detecting where you are in a room and monitoring what TV shows you're watching. Companies are collecting specific information about what you buy to less specific yet sought-after metadata. That's basically data about data, or put another way, information about you, like how many phone calls you make, how long you talk, and even the subject of your emails. It allows the government and any other readers to categorize you, determine with whom you associate, and how you think. Justin Brookman is a consumer privacy advocate at the Center for Democracy and Technology.
My concern is if you go to the store, with your credit card, buy a loaf of bread or buy a donut, right? Does that information get collected about me and sold to, told to my doctor? Does it get sold to my insurance company? That's the sort of thing we don't have control over right now. And I think we do. I think people should agitate for better controls, for better laws about this.
And surveillance isn't going away. It could easily become even more pervasive in the future because technology is only getting, well, smarter. Right now, if you take a picture of someone walking down the sidewalk, chances are you won't be able to identify them using facial recognition software. But that technology is coming, and that has some people wondering if privacy is dead, or at least on life support. And don't forget the growing capability of drones. unmanned, tiny eyes in the sky that could follow you without you knowing it, even if you aren't using a cell phone or any other electronic device that can track you. The number of drones is growing all the time. And with the growing capability to track people electronically virtually all the time, there's a move for Congress to pass a new privacy law. But it's a fine line to legislate.
The key is going to be have these smart devices working for us and not against us. And right now, I don't have the confidence that that's going to be the case because people don't know what information these devices might be sending off about them.
And speaking of privacy, I'm deploying the Brody File Eye in the Sky drone to see if we can track down David. I mean, after all, he needs to be notified of my coup. Stand by. The Eye in the Sky is getting video of David's desk. It appears he's not in the bureau. Good work, Eye in the Sky. Keep up your search. All right, when we come back, remember this embarrassing debate flashback from 2012?
I would do away with the education, commerce, and let's see, I can't. The third, sorry. Oops.
Now fast forward to 2016. Is Texas Governor Rick Perry preparing another run for the White House? Plus, could the Lone Star State really ever turn blue? And later, an exclusive Brody File interview with the Republican some conservatives love to hate.
Fresh, wholesome juice. There's nothing like it. But until now, you had to stress and strain and make a huge mess to get just a little bit of juice. But not anymore, thanks to the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer. You can drop in whole vegetables, whole fruits, apples, oranges, celery, cucumbers with no chopping, no slicing, no struggling. And thanks to the Power Juicer's revolutionary patented extraction technology, you can get up to 30% more juice than those other juicers. Doctors recommend we get 5 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. With the Power Juicer, you'll be drinking your recommended daily allowance in just seconds. And the pulp from the extra large pulp catcher can be used to make pasta sauces, healthy desserts, and much more. The Power Juicer is dishwasher safe, so cleanup's a breeze, and the powerful motor is guaranteed for life. Order the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer now for just 2 easy payments of $49.90. And as part of this special TV offer, we'll also send you this amazing recipe guide filled with over 60 of Jack's favorite recipes. Try the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer in your home risk-free for 30 days. If you're not completely satisfied, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price, no questions asked. Call now.
Life can be tough. There are challenges for all of us. Jesus told us to pray for one another, and that's exactly what we want to do. On 700 Club Interactive, we use technology to bring Christians together to pray for each other. Meet others just like you and talk or share with them in real time. Watch God work miracles in people's lives. Be part of 700 Club Interactive, weekdays at 11 a.m. on CBN.com.
We asked CBN.com users how we could make our website easier to use, and we listened.
This is really easy to read and move through.
The information opens up a whole lot quicker.
Yeah, it's much faster. There's everything I'm interested in right here. The click of a mouse.
The new CBN.com has been redesigned, making it faster to find your favorite 700 Club stories, musical guests, our online community, and special features.
Anyone can enjoy this new site.
Visit the new CBN.com today.
Welcome back to the Brody File. A political shakeup in the great state of Texas. Republican Governor Rick Perry has announced he will not seek re-election in 2014. You know, he's been governor since 2000, making him the longest serving governor in the state. But he may be leaving at a good time. A recent poll shows Perry losing popularity in the state, with 60% of voters saying he should not seek re-election. 30% say he should. Perry's decision leaves the door wide open for another possible presidential run in 2016. But at this point, all he's saying is he'll announce any future plans in, quote, due time. Stay tuned to the Brody File for that one. So who will replace him as governor? One possible Republican frontrunner is the state's Attorney General, Greg Abbott. On the Democratic side, a possible contender is State Senator Wendy Davis. Meanwhile, Texas Democrats are launching an initiative to turn Texas blue. Their goal is to reach more Hispanic voters before the midterm elections next year. Democrats seem to differ on the best way to win Latino voters. Some suggest one way is tackling the hot topic of abortion. That's because Governor Perry recently called a special session for his legislature to consider an anti-abortion bill. Democrats say because of that, the abortion issue has now been forced upon them. But the problem here is that Hispanics are traditionally known for being pro-life. A poll during the last presidential election showed 62% of Texas Hispanics are pro-life, 32% are pro-choice. Other Democratic strategists say a better approach is to avoid focusing on the abortion issue altogether, or any one particular issue for that matter. Instead, they suggest taking a broader approach to winning over Hispanic voters. No doubt, Hispanics are a growing minority, not just in Texas, but across the country. At this year's National Hispanic Prayer Breakfast, evangelical leaders spoke out about the need for Americans to embrace the growing Hispanic community.
Hispanics are becoming a huge force to be reckoned with in the United States because, it's a growing minority. We were just listening to Luis Lugo from the Pew Research Center, and his research shows that by the year 2040, there's going to be more Hispanics in our school system than Anglos, for example. So this is something that the United States is going to have to start getting their mind around. Hispanics are here to stay. It's a growing force.
Well, we are the future of the country, and a lot of people don't like to hear that, but the reality is that we're going to be about 35-40% of the country as we move forward. So it's important that we have full integration into the United States. We are U.S. citizens, and so we just want to do what every other group has done in the history of this country. People come here, they settle in, they learn the language, and they become part of the American fabric. Well, George Bush did get the Latino evangelical vote, and then Barack Obama has gotten it in the last election, and we're looking forward to the future. Each candidate stands on their own. They have to put their platform forward, and the Hispanic church responds to the platform.
Whether you're a Hispanic congregation or a non-Hispanic congregation, the realities of the Hispanics in education are so critical. They're in such dire need of attention and collaboration towards a solution that no matter what ethnic composition your congregation is, you better get involved in education.
When we come back, the Brody File goes one-on-one with MSNBC's most popular Republican. Stay tuned.
Fresh, wholesome juice. There's nothing like it. But until now, you had to stress and strain and make a huge mess to get just a little bit of juice. But not anymore, thanks to the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer. You can drop in whole vegetables, whole fruits, apples, oranges, celery, cucumbers with no chopping, no slicing, no struggling. And thanks to the Power Juicer's revolutionary patented extraction technology, you can get up to 30% more juice than those other juicers. Doctors recommend we get 5 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. With the Power Juicer, you'll be drinking your recommended daily allowance in just seconds. And the pulp from the extra large pulp catcher can be used to make pasta sauces, healthy desserts, and much more. The Power Juicer is dishwasher safe, so cleanup's a breeze, and the powerful motor is guaranteed for life. Order the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer now for just 2 easy payments of $49.90. And as part of this special TV offer, we'll also send you this amazing recipe guide filled with over 60 of Jack's favorite recipes. Try the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer in your home risk-free for 30 days. If you're not completely satisfied, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price, no questions asked. Call now.
I was always on the cusp of exploding. So I figured out if I get rid of the wife and the kids, then I can just send them money. Went to the junk drawer, I got the Bible out, put the tape in, and I believe that moment, Christ made sense. There is no earthly reason why we're still married. It is a divine intervention, and I thank God, and showing me what love, grace, and forgiveness looks like.
Finding video on CBN.com just got easier. We've taken all our video, the 700 Club, news, testimonies, teachings, plus our 24/7 channels, and put them in one convenient location, CBN TV. Watch what you want, when you want. It's all simple to find, and now easier than ever to email a story to a friend. CBN TV on CBN.com.
Welcome back to the Brody File. We're in the C block. That's C for Jenny's Coup. You know, MSNBC TV host Joe Scarborough insists he's a diehard conservative, but some say he suffers from liberal media disease. We sent David Brody, aka Davey in this week's C Block, to talk to the congressman turned anchor on the set of his popular show, Morning Joe.
On the set of Morning Joe, Scarborough is at ease, a virtual oasis free from the political arrows aimed at him from conservative media circles.
On MSNBC, the biggest idiot of them all, Joe Scarborough.
Boy, have you taken hits, slings and arrows. And
it's something Scarborough may laugh about, but he's also fighting back.
They're bullies. Punch them in the face, and they back off.
Being criticized by fellow conservatives is unusual for Scarborough. During the 1990s, he represented one of Florida's most conservative districts, and he helped deliver a balanced federal budget. Nowadays, he speaks about a reliance on God Almighty, something the evangelical host believes in wholeheartedly. He grew up as an active Southern Baptist, whose faith journey became even stronger in high school.
Faith in the God that was revealed in the Sermon on the Mount is the perfect antidote to the meism of our time.
And it is his faith that got him through some rough times. He resigned from Congress after only 6 years because of challenges at home. One of his sons, Andrew, has a slight form of autism. The other, Joey, emotionally needed his Washington, D.C. based father present back at home.
He just said, Dad, I need you at home. We went to a family counselor, and the family counselor said, you can either come to Pensacola or your son can go up to Washington, D.C., but if you don't do that, bad things are going to start happening.
Something needs to change.
Something needs to change. I always tell people it was the hardest decision I ever made, but it was the easiest decision I ever made.
Today, Scarborough is dealing with a different issue, being the punching bag for conservatives on the far right.
I have committed the unpardonable sin of not judging people for what they believe.
It drives diehard conservatives nuts that he's chummy with liberal politicians, including many within the Obama administration. But Scarborough, who grew up in the church and likes to quote scripture, offers this biblical parallel.
Jesus didn't hang out with the religious leaders. He didn't hang out with the people that patted him on the back. He hung out with the tax collectors. He hung out with those that others had contempt for.
Adding more fuel to the fire, the Newtown Massacre.
For the sake of my 4 children and yours, I choose life and I choose change.
That really stoked the flames when the guy with a stellar NRA rating softened his position on gun control, leading to on-air arguments with conservative lawmakers.
I'm asking.
That's the reality here. It's not a gun problem.
It's not
There's
a gun
person
problem.
doing that.
Oh, really?
Scarborough says any battle that he has with the right is about how to win elections. He contends those siding with screaming radio talk show hosts won't be part of the winning ticket.
Most of these guys couldn't get elected dog catcher. Getting a big audience on radio and winning elections, those are 2 completely different things.
But the millions who tune into these shows label Scarborough as a dreaded rhino, Republican in name only.
I may be a rhino in that in 2013, I am focused on winning. Ronald Reagan was conservative ideologically. He was moderate temperamentally. If we're going to ever get back into the White House, if we're going to win the suburbs of Philadelphia, if we're going to win the Florida I-4 corridor, if we're going to win the suburbs of Columbus, Ohio, we've got to understand that we've got to reach out to people who don't usually vote Republican.
Despite this tough love for conservatives, Scarborough calls out the other side too, whether it's reprimanding top Democrats,
Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic Party are out of touch,
or fighting with top Obama aides.
Don't shift this to me. Answer my question.
And Scarborough will call out the media too, like when there was initial reluctance to link the Boston Marathon bombers to Islamic terrorism.
Can you imagine if those bombers were right-wing extremists like McVeigh?
Right.
We would still be hearing about it today. Whenever I'm pulling my hair out because I think the media is being too liberal and too biased, I just, as a reflex, as a conservative, I turn to Fox News. I watch Fox News, and I'm like, it's like I've jumped into a warm swimming pool.
Actually, the water analogy works pretty well when talking about 4 a.m. wake-up calls and the 6-year grind of morning television.
You should see Tom Hanks in Castaway, and I kind of feel like I'm on that raft, and it always knocks me back.
But the waves haven't stopped him from hosting a very popular cable morning show that helps set the political discussion in America.
The influencers watch this show.
And they do so because of Scarborough's ability to come across as a reasoned conservative on an intentionally liberal-minded network.
And we're back in a moment with the Star-Spangled Banner like you've never heard it before.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new GripGo, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and GripGo grabs your phone ultra fast that it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle. It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window, yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of GripGo. You can get the amazing GripGo with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete GripGo systems for just $14.95.
To order GripGo for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripgo.com.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Welcome back to the Brody File. It's now time for the Oy Vey moment of the week. And while I do speak Yiddish from time to time, if you haven't noticed, I'm not Jewish. What I am is a Southern girl, and in the South, we like to say, bless your heart. Here we go. It's game night for the Brooklyn Cyclones, a minor league affiliate of the New York Mets. And here to kick things off, these guys, a Hasidic a cappella singing group. Yes, the flag still waved after this tribute. The backup singers seem to kind of know the words, but the leader not so much. He's reading the lyrics off his smartphone. Bless their patriotic hearts. Well, that's all the time we have this week. Oh, wait, I'm getting intel from the Brody File spy drone. He has a visual on David. Oh, he's eating a pastrami at Katz's Deli in New York City. Just the Jewish thing to do on vacation in the city. Well, the Ginny team hopes David's having a lot of fun. He'll be back next time. Until then, I'm Jennifer Wishon. God bless.